have there been cases where someone may show 1 or 2 symptoms for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and then still, you know, the restrictions are still removed after 6 months, they do get better? Or is it normally the case where someone, you know, does start getting a symptom and it will just progressively get worse?
Yeah, some patients, they improve immediately after the procedure for a few weeks, and then the symptoms start to recur again. This doesn't mean always stenosis, because sometimes infection, fever, stressful condition can make the symptoms recur again. This doesn't mean restenosis. So we usually wait for 6 months.
Secondly, I'd just like to know,
So you might also remember that multiple sclerosis has its natural causes, ups and downs. And we do hope that our procedure modulates this natural course in terms of some benefit. But we must suspect that anyway these ups and downs will be present. Maybe they will be lower. Anyway, a decline does not necessarily mean there is stenosis occlusion.
yeah, okay. Secondly, I'd like to know about post-procedure medication and herbs or whatever. There doesn't seem to be a general consensus on all the liberation centres that advocate something differently. Is there a reason for this? Or?
No, we don't know which regimen is the best one in terms of safety and in terms of efficacy of prevention of thrombosis or occlusion.
Okay.
We don't know which one is the best. I think it will take years until we will develop the best one, because the history of medication and after other vascular procedures.
Should there be something similar for people that are going for the treatment in terms of taking blood thinners and stuff beforehand?
It's probably healthy, Pinder, that there's not, because we've got different approaches that will produce different results. Either wants to comment on this.
Yeah, I'd like to have 2 comments about the 2 topics. First of all, we decline 6-month follow-up because in the literature the peak of the restenosis is between the 6th and the 8th month. So it's logic that if at the 6-month follow-up checkup everything is fine, the probability of restenosis after that is almost 0. This is first. Secondly, for the medication, it's really not established model of treatment. But I'd like to tell you that there are millions of people in all over the world on anticoagulation treatment because of atrial fibrillation or implanted heart valve. So if you get a good, well done endovascular treatment of the veins, it's worth to take until the end of your life to take the anticoagulant medication. And because we have quite a good results with the dabigatran, without no one case of bleeding, no one single case, I believe that at least 6 months it's reasonable to take anticoagulation.
Sorry, could you repeat the name of that?
The name of the medication, dabigatran. This is the generic name. In Bulgaria, the name is Pradaxa. I think that in all over the Europe, it's Pradaxa. I think so. I'm not sure.
As far as the immediate post-procedural treatment, I can tell you what Zamboni does. Duramente these absolutely friends. When I had the procedure, I had to have a heparin for 3 weeks after the procedure. When I had the procedure in Belfast, they told me that was not necessary, so I took nothing. When I had the 3rd procedure in Ferrara, again, Paolo wanted me to have 3 weeks heparin. So take your own conclusion.
Heparin injections.
Excuse me, Tom. I'd like to. Yes?
Oh yeah, sorry, Mark.
But my question for the patients who may be beginning to feel worse, and the rest of you is, it may depend on whether they had stents or not. So you can't necessarily just say, statistically I'm going to wait 6 months. if you have other evidence that something is wrong beforehand, and we've seen some cases come through, sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes 2 months, sometimes 3 months, and they are significant. There's evidence of thrombus in some of these people, and I would assume you would want to know that as soon as possible. So there must be something that you would do under those circumstances, especially if a stent is being placed. You're not just going to arbitrarily wait 6 months.
Yes, actually, if there's an improvement after procedure, and then there's decline, and there's no reason for such a decline. There's no infection, no fever, no stress, no other things. And we found on Doppler ultrasound abdomen restenosis, occlusion of stent, or severe stenosis inside the stent, or after abdominal angioplasty. Again, problem with valve. So we don't wait to 6 months, but we fix the problem earlier, of course. But the problem is not very easy, because we have some patients with very dramatic improvement, and they are still very well. But on the sonographic examination, we see that this vein is restenosis again. And the question is whether to re-operate on them or not. They are very good. They return to work. They are merely symptoms. And at the moment, we don't touch this vein again. But what we take in a longer perspective?
You want to come?
I totally agree with the comment of Mark. If you have severe worsening and there is suspicion of restenosis, it's better to not wait 6 months, because if stent is implanted or not, it doesn't change anything. We had one case without stent implantation, with perfectly done simple angioplasty, how one would say, and the stent was totally collapsed. And if the secondary treatment is done on time, it's the probability of success is bigger, because in case of thrombosis, the fresher the thrombus, the most is the probability to be opened successfully. Because in a fresh thrombus with a very small quantity of fibrinolysis and additional ballooning, the success rate is very high. So my suggestion is not to wait too much. If you have a suspicion of restenosis, it's better to do a follow-up check with doctor.
Ian wants to come.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon everyone. My name is Ian Gunn, and like Gianfranco, I'm also a consultant surgeon. I enjoyed your talk very much, and I think you've got a lot of insight, and I'm sure it's been very instructive for patients here to hear what your very direct thoughts were about the various things you were offered. But I've got a question for you. 30 years ago, when I was training in surgery, I got involved in arterial dilatation with some of the very earliest balloons called Grunzig balloons. If you remember that far back. We dilated iliac stenosis, and it worked very well, but we very quickly realized the durability of the procedure was limited and we re-stenosed. Now you had a re-stenosis in an area that was already dilated, and I just wondered what you and Professor Zamboni decided not to have a stent placed when you had what was effectively your third procedure, but your second one from him.
Regarding the stent, Professor Zamboni's mind is very clear. No stents in individual veins. Period. Stop. For many reasons. He thinks that is a part of the body which is too mobile for the rigid structures to be there. The other thing is, which has not been mentioned during this debate, the percentage of accessory nerve injury in patients with stents put in their tubular veins. And